Sivan, Tesvav Sivan was the day that the Frierdiker Rebbe was arrested in Tafresh Pei Zayin in 1927. Okay. Siyatish Mai Yom Dal Parsh Baha'alotcha, the Wednesday, Parsh Baha'alotcha, Tesvav Sivan, Tafshil Lamed Dalet. Baha'alotcha Saneda is when you will raise up, literally kindle the neidos of the menorah. So El Mul Pnei HaMenorah, facing the face of the menorah, Ya'iru Shivas HaNeidos, the 7 candles will shine. Now, the mimer is going to focus a lot on the extra wording here in the pasuk and the combination of terms and differences between them. And my father-in-law, in other words, the Frierdiker Rebbe, the one who was imprisoned and redeemed, examines and analyzes in his mimer that begins with this title of Baha'alotcha from the year Tafshin. Initially, he begins when you will kindle the neiros. It doesn't say how many. It doesn't just says candles. The Misparim doesn't mention the number. Afterwards, he says that the 7 candles will shine. So he makes a point to point out how many. The Gam Tzarech also need to understand Mashakasav El Mul Pnei HaMenorah Ya'iru Shivas HaNeidos. Towards the face of the menorah, the 7 candles will shine. Harei Pnei HaMenorah Hu Neiraim Tzoi. The face of the menorah, that is talking about the central candle, because you had 7 candles in the menorah. You had 3 going to one side, 3 going to the other side, and the middle was called the face, according to the way Rashi explains it. So, if it's facing the middle candle, so how does it say that the facing of the towards the face of the menorah, the 7 candles will shine? It's not 7 that will shine. There is the one that's the center, and therefore Avilela Meimar El Mul Pnei HaMenorah Ya'iru Sheish HaNeidos. It should have said towards the face of menorah, it should be shining 6 candles. The point of the explanation on this is the initial neiros, the initial word for neir and candles that he says at the beginning of the pasuk. And the candles, what it says, they will shine 7 candles. Are 2 separate concepts. That's why the first one doesn't have a number, and the second one does, as we'll explain the significance of that. When it says you will kindle the candles, when it doesn't say the number, these are referring to the neshamas that are called candles. Like it says in the pasuk, the candle of Hashem is the soul of a person. Just like a candle by its nature is to go up above and to cleave to its root. Why does the candle want to go up above? What's the root that it's cleaving to? That Chassidus brings down that there is the element of fire, that from which all fire derives from, the general element of fire that's located in the heavenly spheres under the sphere of the moon. So over there is where the fire is drawing to, because everything draws to its source. So just like a candle fire draws upwards, so to the neshama is also likened to a candle, but it has the nature of rushing upwards, lalis l'maylo, to go up above, to become part of the source where it was hewn out from. So now he makes a certain emphasis on what type of neshamas have to go through what type of process. Elam neshamas, the bri yitzir v'asiyah, the neshamas that are already created neshamas, those neshamas that are from the worlds of bri yitzir v'asiyah, top of the next page vav. That natural tendency to rush upwards is something that's concealed, being that they're created beings, they're parts of Bri Yitzira Asiya. It's not open. And the Aaron's avodah is bahalois. He has to kindle it. To awaken and to reveal the nature of the rushing and the rising upwards that the candles have. That's why it says, when you will raise up the candles, meaning, why does it use the term raising up like we always bring down in many places? The point is that Aaron not just lights the candles, but the point is that Aaron has to reveal that nature of rising up, that it should be by the candles in a revealed way. So that is the beginning of the pasuk. Ba'alois Chasan Eiris is talking about Aaron raising up the candles of the neshama of a person. The second part, where it does talk about numbers, that's a completely different thing. We're not even talking about the neshamas. As he says in line 4, V'yiru shivas hanedus, it says you should shine the 7 candles. Koi al ha'me'oros sheberekia shamayim. It's referring to the luminaries that's in the heavenly sphere. Like it's brought down the Medrash, Mishkan hu shakol keneged ha'olam. The Mishkan is equal and corresponds to the world. That this means the chol ha'inyanim shehayu b'brias ha'olam, all matters that there were in the creation of the world, we find hayu dugmasan b'Mishkan. There is corresponding aspects of this also in the Mishkan. So therefore, we have in the world, we have in the creation ma'oros, we have luminaries to illuminate the world. So we have the Mishkan, we have the Menorah. Menorah, Shaisa, Mishkan, and the Menorah that was located in the Mishkan. He dugmas yihi ma'oros b'rekiah shamayim. It's similar to what Hashem said at the creation, that there should be luminaries in the firmament of the Shamayim. So the question is, what's the number 7 about? What does it mean when it says 7 candles should shine? Though in the saying of Yihi Moiris it says that Hashem made 2 luminaries. So where does the number 7 come in? Because the sun and the moon are the primary luminaries. But more specifically, there is 7 luminaries. Whatever specifically those are, I don't know. So what's the association between the beginning of the pasuk and the end of the pasuk? Through the avodah of Aaron to cause the candles to ascend. That the neshamas of the worlds of Biyah, they should have their yearning and rushing to godliness in a revealed way. So when Aaron performs that, Aaron elevates us, raises us up to have this aliyah. So then, so that causes that the luminaries in the sky will shine. Now becomes an additional light, an increase in light of the Maimer of Hashem's Maimer Dasar Mars. I said there should be ma'oros in the heavens. Where do we find that you can increase in the lights that Hashem already established? So he says, Al derech Sarah haisif al ma'oros, similar to what it says that Sarah added to the ma'oros, that she caused addition to the luminaries. There's a medrash that says, Vatomer Sarah tzchaik asal li'elakim. What's the expression tzchaik asal li'elakim? So the medrash says, it says asa over here, and it says also vayasal lakim shnei ma'oros. So this means that Sarah added and causes increase to the ma'oros and Shemaim. So that's the 2 separate languages. Here it says Neiros. Here it says Shivas Neiros. Here it's talking about iron. Here it's talking about what we cause and what happens when the Yidden reach this level of ascent. Now we're going to refer to a further interpretation, a further application of the 7 Neiros, not just that the 7 Neiros is going on the Ma'odos, but also just like the first Neiros, Baha'alotcha Neiros is going on the Neshamas, so to the 7 Neiros is going on the Neshamas. This is a more common thing that we're familiar with from Likkutei Torah and many other Amarim. Ois Beis, line 20. According from the fact that when it says when you will raise up the candles in the simple sense, it's referring al neiros hamenoida to the candles of the menoida. Moving, it's understood. The fact that the candles that it talks about baha'alotcha is in the inner meaning, according to Pnimis HaTorah, is going on the neshamas. Who can neiros the neshamas hema pnimis the neiros hamenoida. The Rebbe says a very interesting thing. The noisel is ashan neshamas hem neiros b'chlal hem neiros hamenoida. In addition to the fact that neshamas in general is the idea of a candle, because like we said, ne'eravai nishmas adam, just like a candle, the fire rises upward, so too the neshama rises upward. But specifically, the inner concept of the neiros of the menoida, they are the neiros of the neshama. And therefore, since the actual neiros of menoida, the inner idea of the neiros of menoida, is the neiros of the Eden, so in actuality, the neiros of menoida had 7. So therefore, the 7 have to be by the Eden also. Line 26. The reason why in the menorah then there were 7 candles specifically, is because the neiros of the soul, the neshamas, is also divided into 7 types. And like we always bring down from the Torah again on the Parsha, you have those that are avoiders with the midah of chesed, and those that are avoiders with the midah of gvura. There's ava, there's yira, and all the other midas. So because every neshama has a different type of avoider falling into these 7 general types. According to this, that there's the 7 types of neshamas. And therefore, just because the neshamas are the pnimius of the neiros hamenoidam, so we have to understand the different expressions in the pasuk. Shebeneiros hamenoida is when it refers to the candles of the luminaries. That we said that the menorah is the 7 candles are referring to ksiv ya'iru shivas haneiros. Neiros the neshamas ksiv alois neiros tam, top of page Zion. After all is said and done, we're not leaving the previous pshat. We're still saying that the neiros, the shivas haneiros, is referring to the neiros, the ma'oros, and the kiyashamayim. And in the neshamas, we also know that there are 7 levels of the neshama, because in actuality, the menorah and the Beis HaMikdash had 7 candles. So therefore, if both the ma'oros and the kiyashamayim had 7, and the neshamas have 7, so we're back to our original question: why at the beginning does it say neiros without giving a number, and the second time around does it give a number? Just like the second time around, but speaking about the ma'oros, it gives a number 7. It should also give a number because the neshamas also have 7 levels, so it should give a number also at the beginning of the pasuk. So the Rebbe says in line 3, this will be understood according to what's written in Likkutei Torah. The 7 candles of the menorah are 7 types of Yidden in their service of Hashem. There's one that does a service out of love, which is called being drawn like water that flows from above to below, which is chesed, the level of kindness that shows on love. Then there's a love out of a flaming fire. Fire is the level of gvura. Fire is the opposite of chesed. It's a level of drawing upwards. V'yesh loymar, I could say the shiva sugim elu. The fact that there's these 7 types. Though the difference between them is only in how they do their service, nikru shivas nedus. They're called 7 candles. The mezesh on neshama kruyaner mashma shem shiva sugim neshamas, and the fact that the neshama is called a candle, and we say there's 7 candles. So this indicates that there's 7 types of neshamas. In other words, the Rebbe is focusing. We're not just saying that there's 7 types of avodas Hashem. We're saying there's 7 candles. A candle is a neshama. That means there's 7 types of neshamas. We're just talking about 7 types of avodas. Why do we call the 7 types of avodas? Why are we saying that this is 7 types of neshamas? We could say it's 7 types of avodas. The pasuk says it's 7 candles. A candle is a neshama. That means it's a different type of neshama. Why do we call it a different type of neshama? So he said because the whole neshama he's going to explain is about their avodah. So they're different avodas means they're different neshamas. Let's see line 11. Who? Since I was created to serve my Maker, I was not created only to serve my Maker. So that's even a more powerful, exclusive type of purpose in the person. The difference in the manner of their avodah, which is hashimush as koinim, the way they serve their Maker, matters to their very essence of who they are. So it's not just there are 7 types of avodas. There are 7 different neshamas because their whole being is their service. According to what's explained in a different place. In the examination of the words of Chazal, I was created to serve my Maker. The idea that the person, the neshama, is to serve his Maker, is concerning his creation. That's why it says, my creation was for the serving of my Maker. When we're dealing with a level that's beyond creation, there's a whole different set of rules, as we're soon going to explain. But in my creation, which means once the neshama descends to the world of Bria, then we could say the term of the purpose is to serve the Eibishter. But the neshama itself, the way it's on a level that's pure and brilliant, that's higher than what it says. You created her, like it says, neshama you placed me tahoirehi. And then it says Ata Barasa, so that means Beria, the level how the neshama was created, is beneath the level of Tahoirehi. So that level of the neshama, the level of Tahoirehi is the part, the neshama, the way it's a part of Hashem Mamish. It's not an intermediary and a means for something else. Gam loyla inyan de l'shamish es koina. Not even that idea that it's there to serve its Maker. When you're saying that the neshama was created to serve its Maker, so that means there is a neshama and its purpose. So it's serving a purpose. When you talk about Hashem himself, you can't say that Hashem is there for something else. The same thing when you're talking about the neshama before its creation, the way it's a chelik al kamimal, the way it's a level of tahoirehi, you can't say that its purpose is for something else. Just like you can't say the Eibishter's purpose, chas v'shalom, is for something else. So therefore, when you're talking about the level of tahoirehi, the level of the chelik al kamimal, so therefore the Rebbe says, line 23, Vatachlis huba ba'atzma, the purpose and the goal is in the neshama itself. Now let's get back to what we were talking about before. We were speaking about before that the 7 types of avodah are 7 types of neshamas, because the neshama was created to do the avodah. That's why you're saying that the avodah is the neshama. But that's only the lower level of the neshama. The level of the neshama, the way it was created, not the level of the neshama, the way it's a chelik elikah. So let's see this inside. Line 23, moving it's understood. Sheis chalkas, the neshamas ba'ifn avidosam, the division of the neshamas in their manner of their service. Hirak ba'darge the atabarosa. It's only in the level that you created it. V'loy be'etzem mahusam, and not in the very essence of their being, that in the level of the neshama of chelik al-kamem al-mamish, you cannot say the different avodas is who they are differently one from another. So now we're going to get back to, again, the question that we've been asking the whole time. Why at the beginning does it talk about neshamas, about natives, without giving a number? And then he talks about, and the Beis HaMikdash, there was a number, Balpizi Eshloima. The Mashanem Baha'alotcha Sanedis Nedis Stambul Yeshivas Sanedis, what it says when you will kindle the candles. It says candles themselves, without giving a number, 7 candles. Ularam is the hint. Shaliyah dan Shama Baha'alotcha Sanedis, the elevation of the neshamas. In when the Aaron kindles and raises up the candles, he gam bahat to adarge the toiri shalomaylam is chalkas. It's even the level of the purity of the neshama. It's beyond the vision, natives tam, ordinary natives. The level of the natives, the way they're beyond the division of their different avodas. We brought earlier in the Maimer that why does Aaron need to kindle the candles? So we said, you know why? Because even though every neshama is like a candle, and the candle by its nature, the fire by its nature wants to go upwards, but that is concealed in the neshamas of Bri Yitzir Asiyah. So therefore, when we originally said that we have to kindle the candles, we're talking about the level of Biyah. The chiv of now we explained that since when the neshamas descend to Biyah, their nature of going upwards, rushing upwards, is concealed. Therefore, we have to awaken and to reveal the nature of the ascent. And that's why it says, that's Aaron HaKohen's job. So how does this fit with what we said now? The Ba'aloischa Sanedis, without giving a number, is not talking about the neshamas the way they are in Biyah, because the neshamas the way they are in Biyah, over there the number applies, because their avodah is who they are. But the neshama that's higher than Biyah, the way it's a chelik al kamemal, over there you don't say a number. Because in the level that's higher than Biyah, a number doesn't apply, because there is no, the service is no purpose of the neshama. The neshama has no purpose, it's its very essence. So if so, how does this fit in? What we said before, the Ba'aloischa Sanedis is to elevate the neshamas the way they're in Biyah. If it's neidos without a number, that's a level of Tahorihi, like we said. So the Rebbe explains that this elevation and kindling of the neshamas the way they are in Biyah, hu ascholos ha'aliyah, he says in line 5, it's the beginning of the ascent. But that's not the purpose, and that's why it doesn't say the number 7. But through that afterwards becomes an even greater ascent. That now the neshamas ascend to a level that's even higher than they were prior to their descent, which means that even the level of the neiros without a number, the level the way they are at Tahorihi, is even that which didn't descend into Biyah, also gets the aliyah through the Aaron HaKohen elevating the neshamas in Biyah. And that's why he says, without giving a number, because the ascent, even in the neshamas of Biyah, causes an ascent even in the neshamas, the way they are chelik alakah, the way they are to Horehi.